On April 22nd, 1984, Bishop Ito, a bishop from Japan, gave an approval to a supernatural event, apparitions of Our Lady, other mystical phenomena, stigmata on the part of the visionary, even the lacrimations or weepings of a statue which was carved in the image of the Lady of all Nations. Welcome to MaryCast. This is Dr. Mark Miravalle, Professor of Theology and Mariology at the Franciscan University of Steubenville. And we're going to talk about a phenomenal event which still remains unknown for a church-approved apparitions, unknown to a large extent. And this is sometimes called the Fatima of the East. I'm referring to the apparitions of Our Lady of Akita, apparitions received by Sister Agnes Sasagawa, a Japanese nun in a convent entitled the Handmaids of the Eucharist, a religious order, a convent, a group of praying sisters, and all of a sudden heaven intervenes and Our Lady comes in a powerful way. And I want to start our little mini-series on Akita by making reference to the statement of the bishop, Bishop John Ito, in 1984, in whose diocese this took place. And I want to quote from his document, I want to quote from his meeting with Cardinal Ratzinger, because this apparition was approved not only with the local bishop, but after consultation, extensive consultation with Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, who was prefect of the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith at that time. So let me first quote from the pastoral statement of Bishop Ito, which gives approval that these in fact are of supernatural origin. These are the words of Bishop Ito, and we're going to see that these words will also enter into conversation, into a report with Cardinal Ratzinger, which leads for not only local approval, but also a universal confirmation of the fact that these apparitions are truly of God. They're supernatural, and they're something that should call us to attention. These are the words of Bishop Ito in his pastoral letter. He says, quote, "The most remarkable fact, in my opinion, and the most evident, is the overflowing of an aqueous liquid, similar to human tears, from the eyes of the statue of our Holy Mother. This began on the 4th of July, 1975, and some tears flowed 101 times until the 15th of September, 1981, Feast of Our Lady of the Seven Sorrows. I was able myself to witness 4 lacrimations or weepings. About 500 persons have already been eyewitnesses. I twice tasted the liquid. It was salty and seemed to me truly as human tears. The scientific examination of Professor Karu Saziska, specialist in legal medicine in the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Akita, has proved that this liquid is indeed identical to human tears." Bishop Ito goes on, "It is beyond human powers to produce water out of nothingness, and I believe that to do this requires the intervention of a force that transcends that of human beings. Moreover, it is not the question of pure water, but of a liquid identical to that secreted by the human body. It flowed only from the eyes of the statue as tears flow, and that more than 100 times over a period of several years and before numerous witnesses. It has been established that it could not have been by trickery or human maneuvers." So, what's the context of this, these apparitions and these locutions as we'll discuss them? I'm going to read to you the 3 messages from Our Lady, which were approved by Bishop Ito as authentic. But before we get there, let's talk about the context and the background. A religious sister in this convent of the Handmaids of the Eucharist had an illness and was praying to Our Lady for a healing. And in fact, she prayed specifically to Our Lady of all Nations based on at that time reported apparitions of Our Lady from Amsterdam from 1945 to 1959. Well, common viewers of MaryCast are clear that these apparitions of Amsterdam have as their major thrust a call for the fifth and final Marian Dogma, the solemn defining of Our Lady as Coredemptrix, Mediatrix of all graces and advocate. So, this sister is praying to a prayer card of Our Lady of all Nations for a cure. She reports that she indeed received this healing, and she saw it as a direct response to her prayers to the Lady of all Nations. So, in thanksgiving and in veneration of the Lady of all Nations, she hired a Buddhist sculptor to sculpt the image of Our Lady of all Nations, and that would be the image of the cross with Our Lady in front of the cross with her hands outstretched, and in fact there is a wound mark in each of the hands of Our Lady of all Nations based on the revelation at Amsterdam, the image, the vision, where Our Lady did appear with wounds which were healed in the palms of her hands. She explains in the Amsterdam messages that these represent her spiritual sufferings in union with Jesus at Calvary. Sufferings which were not visible, wounds which were not visible, but indeed she experienced as the co-redemptrix. So the sister has the Buddhist sculptor represent Our Lady in this acacia, this type of wood, and after a period of time of being placed in the chapel, as we'll see, miracles begin. Sister Agnes begins by experiencing blasts of light which come from the tabernacle. And as she opens the tabernacle for Eucharistic adoration, blasts of light repeatedly take place. Then, as we'll see, Sister Agnes begins to receive a type of stigmata, a wound in her hand, in her left hand, in the form of a cross. And the wound begins to bleed, and she experiences intense sufferings. I want to read to you something from her diary which describes how this takes place. So Bishop Ito, in this pastoral statement, is saying these lacrimations, these weepings, which only happen after the Marian apparitions, after Sister Agnes herself experiences this spiritual stigmata, then and only then does the statue begin to weep. But I want to quote to you what Bishop Ito says during his 1982 report with Cardinal Ratzinger. He says in his report to Cardinal Ratzinger, quote, "The reasons why I concluded as above, that is, to the supernatural authenticity of these apparitions, is as follows. Number one, I, who am bishop, witnessed the weepings of the statue 4 times. I observed tears well up and overflow from the eyes of the statue and stream down just as a human being sheds tears. I watched the tears stream down the statue's cheek, accumulate on the chin, then flowing down the statue's garment, reach the feet, and then flowing along the globe on which the statue stands. Then the tears reach the pedestal that supports the globe and statue. I can never forget the profound emotion I experienced when I first watched the tears from the statue. I was so strongly touched at the sight that I felt like weeping, like wiping away the tears by bringing cotton. In actuality, I wiped away the tears from the statue of the Holy Mother. Twice I tasted the tears, which tasted salty just like human tears." So we're going to go on with this. What I want us to be clear of is this is approved by the bishop. It's after the consultation of Cardinal Ratzinger, and it's something authentic which is calling us to focus on Our Lady Co-Redemptrix today. This is Mark Miravalle for MaryCast. We're going to continue with this series on Our Lady of Akita. Continue to be with us. Thanks, and God bless.